In our Moneyball save set 100 years in the future, we've taken Birmingham from the Championship back to the Premier League, and in our second season we finished 14th. It was fine. But now though, it's time to do some more data-driven Moneyball signings to try and take Birmingham to the top in the next few seasons. Can we build Birmingham using Moneyball techniques to Premier League champions? That has become our aim. Let's go do some transfers. Come on. Welcome back then to our Moneyball save in the future. Birmingham City is the team we are using. This was the ending of our second season in charge. We were promoted to the Premier League in our first season through the playoffs. We finished 14th back in that top flight in our second season. It was an absolutely fine season, all things considered. We got ourselves 42 points, past that magic 40-point mark that makes sure that you are safe, as well as the bonus fact of us qualifying for Europe next year. I don't know how much of an effect this is going to have for us, but it's certainly a nice thing. We managed to qualify for the Europa Conference League for next season through winning the Carabao Cup. We won the EFL Cup look with a 3-2 win, a 3-2 victory over Spurs in the final. Junior Diamande and Harry Freeman with the goals in that one. It's a good season, although there are definitely improvements ready to be made to this team. What I'm going to go and do first of all is transfer stuff, because like I say, there is stuff to improve on. Just straight away, in terms of really basic data to be using to try and look for where we can improve. If you have a look at our goal difference, we ended up on a minus 21 goal difference, which is, I mean, that's actually fine. If you compare that to the teams around us, it's fairly similar. It's better than the teams right down the bottom look. But the thing to take from it is that we actually scored quite a lot of goals. 76, which was, I mean, that's almost as many as Man City, who finished third in the division. However, we conceded 97 goals. We conceded the most goals in the entire league. We conceded more than Sunderland, who got relegated and conceded 94 goals. 97 goals is a lot of goals to be conceding. Now, there are caveats to this. We're conceding goals because we attack quite a lot and we score a lot of goals. That's one thing. We're using this fairly attacking 4-2-3-1 type system, and we're going for it even though we are a newly promoted team. So we are and we're always going to concede goals. However, 97 goals might be slightly too many. It's certainly too many if we are trying to finish in the top half next year. I'm going to aim for about mid-table, by the way. I reckon we should be aiming to finish around 9th, 10th, 11th, and perhaps also trying to go on a decent run in the Conference League, because if we can strengthen a little bit, why can't we go quite far in that competition? You see Chelsea's run to the final IRL this year. Some of those teams they've come up against, I reckon we could beat that type of opposition with our Birmingham team. So let's aim high for that. That's kind of where I'm setting my expectations for this season. But thinking about trying to bring down this goals conceded number, I think the obvious one is maybe to think about a new goalkeeper. So I will have a look and see if there's a better one. One thing I will say is that I really do like Kavana Kedor, even though he did concede a lot of goals last year. If you compare some of his data, he's really low on things like saves and goals conceded because we concede so many goals. But he is clearly quite good with the ball at his feet. Look, possession won, lost, passes completed, progressive passes are all pretty strong on his data. And this is where you have to take some of that data with a slight pinch of salt. When I'm trying to recruit a new goalkeeper, goalkeepers that play for better teams are going to have better stats, and you kind of have to factor all of that into it. I'm also sort of looking at how our coaches rate him and think, I'm not sure he's necessarily the problem. But of course, if there is somebody who's obviously an upgrade, we will probably go for it. However, what I am thinking is maybe we need to look for a couple of extra defenders into our squad. Maybe it's our central defenders. I really like Santiago Rivas, who, if we have a look at his data, the reason I've come back on this date, by the way, is that we've still got all of the data from this past season. If we have a look at Santiago Rivas, he profiles really highly for progressive passes, expected assists, dribbles. He's really good on the ball, clearly, but he also does win a high percentage of his tackles. One thing I have noted about Rivas, though, is that his headers won percentage is actually not that high. 70% isn't that low, but as a centre-back, you probably want it to be a little bit better than that. So maybe a really aerially dominant centre-back partner for Santiago Rivas might be something to look for. I think maybe we've missed that since we sold Danny Ogle, perhaps, but that's something to think about. I do think I really like our fullbacks, Nakayama and Takamura. I do think we can maybe upgrade on Elliot Steele, though, at centre-back. And then other than that, in terms of recruitment for this summer, I think I would just look for, is there a real game changer? Maybe it'll be a striker, maybe it'll be an attacking midfielder, maybe it'll be one of the centre mids. If there's a player that just seems to profile ridiculously that I think will actually take us up a level, maybe making one of our starting players here a really good backup and increasing our squad depth through that way, maybe we'll go for that. But otherwise, I think it'll be a bit of a focus on the defence for next season, because as I said before, we scored a lot of goals, we just conceded loads. With all of that in mind, and with £56 million to go and spend, let's go and do some transfers. Before we do transfers, quick one from me. Please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much for watching, by the way. Very grateful for you guys coming along on another adventure with me. If you are enjoying it, please do like the videos. It really helps, especially as we get further into a series like this. Obviously, you'll see the views. They'll tail off. That's Football Manager content for you. That's the nature of doing a series on FM24, basically. But I do feel like you guys who are watching right now, you appreciate this type of save, this type of adventure. And I'm having a lot of fun doing it. So we're going to continue. But you can really help by liking the video. So please do that. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Let's get back into these transfers. Okay, season has begun, and with our plan in place to go and sign defensive upgrades, I've gone and spent £22 million on a striker. It's very me. However, I do actually think this is worth it. I've spent big on what I'm hoping is going to be a game changer. I did say if a player stood out as somebody that I think is going to make a huge difference, then we'd spend some of that money. Remember, we had £56 million to go and spend. I have also brought in a couple of defenders too. This one went through on the 10th of June, look, and I have brought in from Le Havre in France for £22 million, rising to £38 million with add-ons, Danny Guillo, who is a striker who you can't quite see his data on here, but I'm going to show you some of his data because, of course, I exported it to go and find him, to go and sign him. He's a player that was playing in France last year, having signed on a free transfer from Villarreal. He scored 15 goals in 33 games, got a couple of assists and got 3 player of the matches. A really solid 7.17 average rating for them last year as well. He's also got a really good track record. If you go back and have a look at when he was playing for the B team and the C team at Villarreal, he also made his Villarreal debut for the first team in La Liga as well, which just tells me that he's probably got a bit of potential. Our scouts adored him when they scouted him, and some of his data from last season really did stand out. Let me show you that now and try to justify why I've spent so much money on a striker. So here is a chart that shows some targets that I identified, 4 main targets that I identified as potential strikers for this season. Now, this is when I went and looked through all of the data using the player search function in the game, and then I made little short lists for each position in case somebody jumped out as being a must sign, especially if once I'd scouted them in game, the scouts returned a really favourable scout report and said, actually, this guy has huge potential or looks like he's going to be a game changer for you. One of those players was Danny Guillo. Now, if you see him on this chart here, that's because he is right at the very top here for XG per 90, always good for a striker, and XGC per 90, which is expected goal contributions per 90. So obviously for a striker, we want them to be able to score goals. We also want them to be able to create goals. Now, he only ended up getting 3 assists last season. However, he had a 0.64 expected goal contribution per game last season, which means you can feel relatively assured that he's going to get a goal or assists most games, just over 1 every 2 games, which is obviously pretty good. He also got a 0.52 XG per 90 as well. Again, it's a 1-in-2 ratio for a striker, which is pretty much the baseline that you want, isn't it? We know that he scored 15 goals last year playing for Le Havre. And we also know by looking at some of the data that would come up on these tables here that he scores quite highly across all of them. There were 3 other players that I identified. There was Jesse Van Dijk, Antonio Kruznar, and Santiago Vicente. But Danny Guillo was way above them on loads of them. Just look here, look. Non-penalty goals, look, he's up there at the very top of all of those. All of the green stats on here are the ones that we want to be looking for. Expected assists, he had the best out of the 4 players that I identified. There's shots per 90. He takes loads of shots. Look, he had 123 shots last season. That's over 4 shots per game. 58 shots on target. Shots on target per 90, just under 2 of them as well. And actually, shots on target percentage of 47% isn't that bad either. He is the player that I've identified to lead our line and be in contention with both Farisar and Harry Freeman as what I'm hoping is going to be a really strong attack. Look at his pros, look at his cons, look at some of the big yellow circles on his attributes here. Things like flair, technique, finishing is really good. His ball control technique is really good. He's got great balance. He's good in the air as well because he is actually 6 foot as well. So hopefully he's going to be a threat from set pieces too. I just think, I know it's a lot of money. I just think this is going to be our game-changing signing of the summer. And then I've also gone and signed some defenders too. If we go back to our transfers for this summer, he was the first bit of business that I went and did. Signed him for that £22 million there. And then I got to work trying to identify a proper Moneyball centre-back signing. I ended up settling on this man here, Raul Kanga, who is an Ecuadorian centre-back. He's 6'2", which is important because we did talk about trying to focus on a little bit more aerial domination at the back, because Santiago Rivas is great, but he wasn't winning all that many headers. So getting a big guy in there that can win headers in Raul Kanga was a real priority for this summer. Now, let me show you the data that I was looking at that ended up with me signing Raul Kanga from Liga de Quito in Ecuador, where he played 10 games last season and got a really high average rating. It's not a load of data to go off there, but that's where FM Data Lab comes into play, isn't it? This is where you can extract all of that data and really fine tune it towards what you're looking for. Now, one of the big things we were looking for was that aerial domination. So I've looked at headers won percentage, because if he's winning most of the headers he goes for, that's going to be really important. And then at the back, if we've got Rivas, who's going to be our ball player, who's really good on the ball. We saw that from his attributes on his profile before, didn't we? I kind of want a defender next to him that I'm not saying is just going to be a bit of a grok there, but he's going to be dominant. He's going to win the ball. He's going to win their tackles. He's going to win their headers. He's going to win their duels. So in terms of a duels win percentage, out of the 5 players that I identified to be decent centre-back options, Raul Kanga comes out as the best in both of those regards. He is 100th percentile in both headers won percentage and duels won percentage. He wins 73.9% of his headers and he wins 82.9%, basically 83% of his duels as well, which that's really good. Obviously, he's playing in Ecuador, so you take it with a pinch of salt, but that's sort of what we're working with. We think that if you can do it there, we're going to give him the chance to come and do it in the Premier League. It might work, it might not work, but it cost us £2 million. So actually, I think it's worth that risk, and that's sort of what we're trying to do here with Moneyball. The other plus side is that he's 19 years old, and when we scouted him, our scouts said, actually, he's going to get a bit better. He does have potential. So welcome to the club, Raul Kanga, who's going to be our starting centre-back alongside Santiago Rivas for this year. We'll then go up front. We're going to have Harry Freeman, Faris Sarr, but also maybe as an option, but then as a rotation of those, Danny Guillo will come in as well. I'm not quite sure who's going to be the starter there. One thing I have noticed as well, by the way, Faris Sarr can actually play as an inside forward on this left-hand side, and I might use him there quite a lot because at the moment we are still waiting for Mohamed Alawi to come back from his injury. He's still got about 3 weeks until he's back from those damaged cruciate ligaments that he did last season. So at the moment, I am thinking maybe we use Faris Sarr on this left-hand side and then go with Freeman and Guillo as our strike force. The rest of the team is the same in terms of the starting lineup. It's going to be Takamura and Nakayama as the wing backs. We're going to continue with Keedle in goal. I really did look for a new goalkeeper, but when I was comparing all of the data, actually Keedle was coming out really strongly in that, and any type of upgrade on him would have to cost us a lot of money that wouldn't really be very Moneyball, if we're going to be honest about things. There is also the idea that he is homegrown. He's English, where we don't have many English players in our team, so it is something that I do consciously want to try and stay on top of as much as possible. Our midfield 3 will still be Campoire, Diamande and Arnau. And then on the left-hand side, it will be Alawi, but Faris Sarr can cover in there. And then our strike force will be 2 of the 3, Faris Sarr, Danny Guillo and Harry Freeman. And that was pretty much where I was at. I was kind of happy with how the squad looked after this. I've been wanting to get to this point where the squad is settled and any upgrades are sort of incremental rather than completely rebuilding the squad every transfer window. It allows me to talk through the process in more detail with you, which I think is sort of the point of a save like this. It's about trying to identify targets and trying to make improvements in a financially smart Moneyball type of way. So that's kind of where I was at. However, before the window closed, it's actually not closed yet, so there may be changes to this from here, but we have just played our first league game of the season. However, we were then hit with a very decent transfer bid for one of our backup centre-backs. Yusuf Al-Husseini has been bought by Henan Songshan Longmen, who have bought a couple of our players now over the course of this save. £5 million for a player that was very much a backup for us. Now, he is actually massive, so he is that aerial dominance we talked about. But last season, his data wasn't particularly good. He did play 26 times. He had 14 starts in the league. However, he only got a 6.68, and £5 million does reflect a really healthy profit on him. So I decided to say yes. I decided to let him go. He really did want to go as well because I think they put him on decent wages. Yeah, £40,000 is a lot more than he was earning at our club. So he's gone, and that meant that we did need to go and sign a replacement. And so I just went back to my list of 5 centre-backs that I identified when signing Raul Kanga and went with Kevin Caicedo, who was playing for Orcas, which is again in Ecuador. We've signed him for £1.4 million. And one thing about him is that he's a perfect replacement for Al-Husseini because he's also 6'6". He's another one that came out quite nicely in the data and is another one that is also obviously very aerially dominant. 6'6", and he's going to be a back, and he's happy to be a bit of a fringe player as well. He comes in to take the place of Al-Husseini in our squad. And that then is the extent of our business this summer. We did sign Bogovic permanently for £2 million. And we also said goodbye to Zach Bates. And then there were one or two that also went as well, like Sean Fulton, Gashi, James Gray also left. But that was all after, look, Abel left in January for that £29.5 million. All in, it does mean that we are still in a place where we've turned a profit overall. We've sold players for £84 million. We've bought players for £80 million, which is kind of where I want to keep it as much as possible. We might end up going slightly over, but if we can keep it so that the players we've sold equates for more money than the players we've brought in, I think that's quite a good way to show that we are sort of doing a Moneyball thing. Obviously, that's not the be all and the end all of Moneyball, but I think turning a profit is something we should be aiming towards in this save. So that all in meant the squad looked as I just showed you, and we've actually played the first game of the season as well, which we managed to win away at Manchester City on day one of this season. Now, it was helped by a red card to Crespo from them, and it was courtesy of a 94th minute winner, but it's a good start. In fact, let's have a look at the goals in the, well, let's have a look at the highlights here. Look, there's our starting lineup. Our first goal came after 6 minutes. Of course, it comes for a corner, although it wasn't headed in immediately. It comes back to Diamanda here, outside of the foot cross. Sarr is eventually there to smash it home, look, to make it 1-0. Then City equalised, ball over the top, not great defending. Souza smashed home. That guy, by the way, looks like an outrageous player. That was onside after a VAR check. Then right at the end, after City had gone down to 10 men, deflects all the way through, and Campoire, look, smashes it home. It's a horrible goal to concede for City. And that won us the game, and we're off to a really good start. They are a good team, and we've managed to win away from home against them to start this season off. We are still predicted to finish bottom. We are 1,000 to 1, which I believe is a reflection of the current ability of the squad. But I'm sort of okay with that because I believe in the data of the players. Even if their current ability is low, I feel like they can get results. You can trust in the process and they will get results on the pitch. So I'm sort of ignoring this, and I'm hoping let's really go for mid-table, as well as I mentioned at the start of the video, trying to have a really good run in that Conference League. We are going into, we have a qualifier against this team here, who are from Iceland, is all I'm gonna, do they have a nickname? No. I'm just going to go, I'm not going to attempt their name. They're from Iceland. We'll either be playing them or this team from Hungary. The draw's not made it easy for me here. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm hoping, though, that the fact that their names are very difficult to say means that we might be able to beat them. And hopefully we get ourselves through and into that competition properly. And that's what I'm going to go and do now. I'm going to go and play the first half of this season up until the January transfer window. And then I'll be back to tell you how things are going and look ahead, maybe some more transfers. Come on. All right, then. Welcome to the halfway point of our third season. Heading into January of 2028 then. We're doing okay. We're currently 8th in the Premier League. It's actually a marked improvement from last year. We've played 20, so actually just over halfway. We've won 9. We've lost 10. We've only drawn 1 game. We drew at home to Cardiff. Other than that, either a win or a loss, which is, I mean, it's quite on brand, really. We are still conceding too many goals. I'm sad to share with you, 46 goals in 20 games. It's not ideal. It's actually right up there. Look, it's the second highest, joint second highest. Bournemouth have conceded 46, and then Leeds have conceded 47. Chelsea have actually conceded 45. Chelsea might get relegated this year. They finished 17th last season. They are in the relegation zone this season, which could be quite fun, couldn't it, to see that happen. We, though, have scored 36 goals, which is okay. We've got a minus 10 goal difference. So what I am thinking is maybe there needs to be a bit of a change of approach in terms of the tactic that we're using. Maybe we don't quite have the player quality to play this all attacking system that we're kind of going for. Maybe I need to think about, does this number 10 become another defensive midfielder? Do I ask these fullbacks, these wingbacks as they play like, to maybe go forward a little bit less? Maybe actually having just one striker and a winger over here. These are things that I'm thinking about maybe for next season, because I mean, all of that, even though I've just said all of that, we are 8th in the Premier League with a team that's predicted to finish bottom. So actually, maybe that's not true. Maybe instead it's about trying to find more game-changing players to keep improving us. What would you do right now? Would you do a change of system for Birmingham going into season number 4, or would you actually persevere with this because there is incremental improvements every year, but you can kind of see glaring weaknesses at the same time? So maybe I'm asking you guys, what would your move be right now Would you double down or would you change things? Let me know in the comments down below. But I am very happy with how the season's going overall. We've got some really strong performers, actually. If I show you some of the stats of the players here, we have once again got Nakayama getting loads of assists. He does take set pieces, so that does help. We've also seen a really good first half of the season from both Rivas, who's now wanted, by the way, by the Chinese team Changchun Yatai, and also a really good first half of the season from Raul Kanga. If we have a look at his performance as a centre-back here, look, you can see profiles pretty nicely. Loads of dribbles from centre-back from him. 6.81 average rating. It's not outrageous, but I think it's pretty strong. His heading win percentage has come right down though, which is the difference between the Ecuadorian league and the Premier League probably. But I'm still really happy with the data on here, to be honest with you. He wins the ball back, he wins his tackles, look, and he's good on the ball too. His progressive passes have been good. Even if his passes completed haven't been as high, the percentage is still pretty good on there. That's how Raul Kanga looks. We compare him to Santiago Rivas as his centre-back partner. You can see that things have almost flipped, look, and actually Santiago Rivas is winning more of his headers than last year. But he also profiles really well. I mean, really well in terms of the expected assists compared to the other centre-backs in the league. Like, he's actually got 3 assists from centre-back. On the ball, this guy is really, really good. And you can kind of see that, actually. If you have a look at some of his attributes, which are, of course, hidden. Technique isn't a big yellow circle, but it is a strong red one. Vision's pretty good too. And passing, I mean, that's probably not that bad for a centre-back, is it? We've also had a really good first half of the season from Campoire. He's got 2 goals, 5 assists. Diamande's got 3 goals, 9 assists. Amazing first half of the season from John A. Arnau, who now has 16 goals, 7 assists. He's actually scored plenty of goals every season. Look, he's had a really good... We signed him for 825k, look, and he's got 11 goals, then 4 goals. And then this year, he's on track to get his best goal scoring return of his career. Look, if he just needs 2 more to match the season that he joined, and that's in under half of the games, look. So he's on track to have his best ever season for us as our number 10 Arnau. And then up front, Danny Guillo is probably the guy that you're wondering about. He's got 12 goals and 28. It's not prolific, I will say. Harry Freeman is outscoring him again, 16 goals in his 27. But it's okay. He's definitely contributing. If you have a look at some of the data on here, look, compared to other forwards, I think he has made a difference. What I'm kind of relying on is the idea that he's only 21 and it is going to get better. His value is really high, look, more than that £22 million that we've paid. He's also got caps for the Spain under 20s. It tells me we do have a really good player here. Maybe he needs this season to maybe settle in a little bit. I mean, it's not terrible, is it? It's 7 goals in 19 starts, 3 assists, 1 player of the match, just under a 7 average rating. Maybe not quite the game changer that we were hoping for, but of course we're not one of the better teams in the league, and when you are a better team you create more chances, so certainly not one to give up on. I think it's an okay start to his career, but Harry Freeman has outscored him. He's been outrageously good again. We probably don't need to replace him, do we? He's got himself now 32 goals, 12 goals, and now 7 in 20. That is something to mention, actually. It's only 7 goals in the league, but he has got 7 goals in 7 games in Europe in that conference league that we're now taking part in. Maybe that was masking slightly his performance compared to Danny Guillo. Danny Guillo's got more league goals, hasn't he? Farisar, I know you're wondering, is starting as the left winger at the moment because Mohamed Alawi is on international duty. It is AFCON at the moment, so Alawi's away. I mean, Farisar's away as well at the moment. So Junior, Diamande and Campoire. This might bring a bit of trouble about for the next few games because we do have a lot of our key players away at that tournament. But Alawi has been back in, look. He's got 19 starts and then he scored 5 goals, got 8 assists. He's been pretty good. Has suffered with a couple more injuries more recently, which isn't ideal, but he's only 22, so I'm hoping he will eventually come good. I mean, it's not bad. I mean, his stats actually aren't even that bad, are they? 4 goals, 2 assists from the left wing. They're just not quite able numbers, which were always going to be very difficult to match, weren't they? Right now, though, we are heading into the January transfer window. We do have a lot of players with interest in. Arnau's linked to Al Nassr. Rivas linked away, as I mentioned before. Farisar's wanted by Hamburg and Boa Vista. A few players on the bench as well, all wanted here. Look, some of our younger players. Elliot Steele hasn't played as much. He was wanted by Stuttgart on a loan there. Jerome Gale wanted on by Rotherham and Charlie Hartlebury by Middlesbrough. There may be some business to be done in January. I guess we'll find out. We do have money to spend if we should want to. But I'm going to go and do Jan now, see how we get on with those players away at AFCON, see if we do any transfer business, and I'll be back at the end of January to let you know what's been going on. Okay, and here we are then on the 2nd of February. It was a bit of an up and down January, as may be expected because of those players away at AFCON. We lost the game to Arsenal to kick things off in Jan. We then beat Sunderland in the FA Cup 3rd round. Then we lost to Man City, even though we beat them away from home. Harry Freeman did score twice. He got himself a brace look in back-to-back games there. He got himself 5 goals in 3 games. It was a nice run for him. We beat Wolves. We lost to Manchester United. Luis Espinosa, by the way, scored the goal in this game. If you remember, he's the centre-back that we have on loan from Bayern Munich. The reason I mention him is that actually, during the January transfer window, I decided to make his loan permanent. His values come all the way down. Look, he was valued quite highly at Bayern Munich for a while. And then since being on loan for us, his values come down to about £1 million. So we're going to sign him for £1 million and make it permanent at the end of the season. Because I think that just kind of makes sense, to be honest. So, and that was actually the only bit of January transfer business that we ended up doing. So really, it's just about updating you on these results. We're through again in the FA Cup. And we finished off with a win against Leicester. We are, by the way, through from the league phase in the Europa Conference League. If I show you those results, I don't think I talked to you about it before, did I? We beat this Icelandic team 10-2 on aggregate to qualify. Then we drew to AZ Alkmaar, beat St. Gallen, beat this Luxembourg team 2-0, drew to Marseille, drew to Hapoel Beersheva, and then finally beat the Norwegian team Vålerenga 3-0. So we have qualified for the round of 16. So we're into some European knockouts right now, which is quite fun. If we can make it through, I really think we do have a chance. The teams left in the competition, by the way, are this top 8, which will be the teams that we will definitely be with in the round of 16, which includes Marseille, Red Bull Salzburg, AZ, are probably the ones that stand out on there, plus the likes of Atalanta, Besiktas, Hajduk Split, and Red Star. So there are some decent teams in there, but I think we've got a chance. We haven't yet had the draw for the knockout playoff round, and we haven't had the draw for the round of 16. But fingers crossed that when I come back at the end of this season, fingers crossed we'll be in the final stages of the Conference League, because it'd be lovely to try and win some European silverware. And hopefully, if we get there, we'll do that as a live com. That's the aim anyway now. One other thing before we do go and continue this season is to show you our youth intake preview. It says it's a golden generation. I don't believe that one bit, because we've only got 3 players that have any type of potential, really. It's 1 centre-back that is A graded, and then 2 forwards who are fine prospects at an A grade as well. Everybody else is E or lower. So maybe it won't be a golden generation, but hopefully there'll be 1 or 2 players in there. I know that I've not really talked about some of the youth intakes in this save so far, and that's just because actually they haven't really been up to much. They don't look great. Elliot Robertson was one of the better ones on there, and without knowing what his attributes look like, it's very hard to judge. Really, all we have to go off is the coach report, and then even then, none of the players that have come through have really, according to our coaches, got any type of real potential. So the minute I get somebody that looks like they're going to be good, I will let you know. But until then, we're just not going to really focus on it too much. Oh, one last thing before we do go and continue. I brought in a new technical director, Andrew McWilliams, who I've tasked with bringing in and improving our staff setup, because obviously I can't see staff attributes or anything either. He's done a great job, because over the course of the past, 3 seasons now, he's managed to make our coaching team almost the best in the entire league. It's just 1 goalkeeping coach that we're missing. I keep asking for new coaches so that he brings in more, and then this gets better. He's also helped with our medical team, which is the best in the Premier League now, and also the recruitment team, which is getting there. Nearly the best, but again, I need to ask for more scouts so that I can bring in more and better ones to hopefully keep this improvement. It's just, that's not something that I've actually shown you so far, but something that I am working on to keep improving. It's something you do in all of your saves, I know. Let's go and finish this season off then, and hopefully I'll be back, fingers crossed, for a European final. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? I'll see you in May. All right then, welcome back at the end of our 3rd season here with Birmingham there, where, as you can see by the screen here, our next match is in the FA Cup. That is because we're in the FA Cup final. But before that, before coming on to final talk, we finished 10th in the Premier League. This is basically where I thought we would finish this season. It's not incredible, it's not outrageous, but it is an improvement from last year. We've ended up on 54 points. What we need to actually go and look at is, if we go to the Premier League, the goal difference compared to last year is significantly better. It's only a -5, and now it is still a negative, so something again to work on for next year. However, 78 goals scored, 83 conceded. 83 conceded is a lot better than the 97 that we conceded last year, isn't it? It's not perfect. Definitely something I want to improve, because actually compare that to teams around us. Look, the team above us, Hull, can't believe we're still finishing below Hull, by the way, but weirdly, they're a good team this year. They only conceded 60. We conceded 23 more goals to them. So again, next summer, is it a change of system, or Or is it looking for more defensive players to come in? Is it a change of goalkeeper? Again, I ask you, let me know what you think in the comments down below. As I said before, let's talk about finals. Actually, before we talk about finals, Chelsea didn't get relegated. They finished 15th. It's Leeds, Forest and Watford that go down. And then in the Championship, it's going to be Brighton coming back up with West Ham. And then it's either Coventry or Swansea who are going to win the playoffs there. So actually, it's quite a boring outcome, really, all things considered, isn't it? But there we go. But finals. We are in not just one final, as I mentioned before, which we're going to do as a live com. We are playing Arsenal in the FA Cup final look, but we are also in the Europa Conference League final, where we're going to be playing the Portuguese team Gil Vicente. I feel quite confident about this. We should surely be able to get at least one more trophy under our belts here. You would imagine, wouldn't you? We've got Arsenal first. We're going to do both of these as live comms. And then we're going to play Gil Vicente. We're playing in the Troyes Community Stadium in France against them. That run to the final, by the way, has included us beating Besiktas. We beat them 5-1 at home, 3-1 away, so 8-2 on aggregate. It's included us beating Marseille home and away. And then the round of 16 was against Hapoel Beersheva, who we beat 9-3 on aggregate. We've been really romping home in most games there. We've scored plenty of goals this year. In the FA Cup, we beat Leicester in the semi-finals. We beat Bournemouth in the quarterfinals after extra time. And then it was Sheffield Wednesday, who again, we beat after extra time. Gareth Doyle-Hayes, who is a backup central midfielder for us, has actually come in and scored plenty of goals. He scored a goal here, look. And then the game before, look, he actually got a hat-trick in the Premier League against Bournemouth, which is just weird. He's really... I did not think he was that good. I really don't think he's that good, but he had a really good spell here. Look, another thing to show you, we had Danny Guillo go on a bit of a goal-scoring tear towards the end of the season. He scored 4 against Besiktas and then got a brace against Cardiff in the game after that. It means that at this stage of the season, going into these two finals, he's got 14 in 35, 27 goals in all competitions this year in 55 games. All in. It's actually a really good scoring return, even if it doesn't quite look like that. But with a step up from the second division in France to the Premier League, he's managed to reproduce his goal scoring form of last year and added a few more assists in there. So I think overall, I think we can call him a success this season, which is always good to see. You guys are going to go and get to see him in action now, because we're going to go and play these two finals. First up, Arsenal, which is in 2 days' time. In fact, let's go and continue, pick the team and get ourselves into this. First up, Arsenal. And then Gil Vicente. In fact, I'll see you for this Arsenal game. And here we go then. This is going to be our team for this FA Cup final. It's going to be Keedle in goal, Nakayama Takamura as our wing backs. We're going to go with Kanga and Espinosa as our centre back partnership. That is because, really quite annoyingly, Santiago Rivas is out injured. Only for 1 to 4 days. He's got blisters. Really annoying that he can't just, put on a compede or something and play through. He will be back for the Conference League final, but is going to miss our FA Cup final here, which is a shame. Campoire Diamande are now obviously the first choice midfield. We're going to go Harry Freeman on the right-hand side with Danny Guillo up front. I'm going to go Alawi on the left-hand side over Barry Sarr. The two of them have been rotating in that position there, but I actually think I want Barry Sarr to come off the bench here if we need him to, because he can be a real asset either on the left-hand side or as a striker. So I'm going to keep him back and use him as a sub option. That is going to be the team. Let's get ourselves into this game, the first of 2 live comms for today's episode then. There is the Arsenal team with, I thought that was Wilshere then, as in spelt the same as Wilshere. It could be a descendant of Jack, but it's actually spelt differently, so it's probably not, is it? Let's get ourselves out there and kick off this game. And we are now, here they come, look. At Wembley then, we're underway. I assume it's still at Wembley 100 years later. The stadiums haven't seemed to have changed. We still play at St Andrews, by the way, which was built in 1905, I think it was. And now we're still playing there in 2127, is it now? Which is, that's an old ground to be playing in. Here though at Wembley, first couple of highlights. First proper highlight, this one, I think. We're on the ball. Espinosa bringing it out from the back. Goes back to Kanga now, though. Can we do a double here? I really feel like we got the League Cup last year, the FA Cup and the Conference League this year. Puts us a lovely story then, isn't it? To try and, sweeping up a few different trophies. It's patient play from us. Espinosa goes wide now to Nakayama. He does get assist as Nakayama. It's bounced around. It's going to be a corner. Corner kick then. Will that be where the highlight comes in? We do have threats from this. We've got Diamande to take it. We have got Guillo in there. Guillo's not won the header. Has Guillo got a big old bold patch there? Doesn't really look like he should have, but it did look like that in the match. Yeah, I think he's got a big old bold patch. Fair play. Here we go again. Another highlight. I'm not really sure why or how that was an actual highlight, but we move. Here's Arnau on the attack. Goes wide. Nakayama. Guio's got to be offside, right? He's missed it anyway. He was offside. We look better, though. We look like the team that is threatening the goal a little bit more in this first 27, 28 minutes here. 4 shots, 1 on target. 3 shots for Arsenal, none on target from them so far. 50-50 possession. We've just edged ahead in that one, look. Average rating, they're just ahead. It's very even, I think, is what we can take from this. As we head in at half-time, or head towards half-time now, looks like it's going to be... Oh, it might not be. There's a highlight right at the end. Arsenal's cross headed wide. It's okay. Okay. Keedle doesn't need to do anything there. Half-time then, 0-0. I'm going to say we've been the better team here. I think we might just have been. I think I'm going to wait until about 60 and then maybe think about changes. Maybe Faris Sarr, because Harry Freeman's only on a 6.3 here. I think Faris Sarr might be that first change. Guio's not particularly great either on a 6.3 either. We haven't really got much going, have we? Let's encourage them a little bit here. Here we go with the first highlight of the second half as it goes back to the keeper. It's actually not a lot. There's actually not much happened either, has there, in this game so far? Arsenal playing it forward then from the back. We haven't seen them create a chance from open play other than we've just seen that one corner, haven't we? So I'm a bit worried about the fact that they're now on the attack. Missed tackle. Gone wide. Who was that? Was it Nakayama? It would have been. It was Espinosa with the missed tackle there. Let's make that change, I think. 65 on the clock. Harry Freeman for Faris Sarr, I think, is our first change. I am thinking about Danny Guio here. Maybe bringing Solar on to play up front or something. Other options, really. We've got Bogovic for the midfield. Solar's our main... He's been the main sub for the season coming on. Although I don't really want... Maybe Arnau goes up front. I think I'm going to give it... 10 minutes or so. See if Faris Sarr can make the difference. And then maybe make a change up front. Guio's not really... I mean, he's not really had a sniff so far, has he? There's 18 to play. Kanga. Good ball into Arnau. This is better football. We've got runners from everywhere. Diamande, Campoire, Nakayama in space because he gets a shot away. Goes down for a penalty. We've won a penalty with 17 minutes to play here. We have the chance. Oliver Dean, which is a descendant of both Michael Oliver and Mike Dean, I can only assume. We have a penalty which Diamande's going to take and miss. Oh my words, we've missed the penalty. Diamande's so good from the spot as well. He scored loads of penalties in his time here. It's saved, and maybe that is a little idea that this isn't going to be our day. Guio has that was actually a really good chance. He didn't really get hold of his shot there. It's going to be another corner. This is actually proper highlights that we've got going here. Wonder if we can maybe keep the pressure on after that penalty win. I think that's offside, isn't it? It is. 15 to play then. I mean, that's going to kill Diamande's rating as well, isn't it? I think we're going to have to do that change. Let's do Danny Guio off. Boya Sola on. And I'm going to put... You know what? I'm going to keep Sola as the striker. He can play there. Is he going to be a better choice there, or is it going to be Arnau? I think we're going to go Sola just because he's got the fresh legs. Or do we go with someone who's actually a striker? Lee Ford's more of an actual striker. But maybe we save that and see what can happen as Arsenal are on the attack now. If we lose it, it sort of is our fault, isn't it? We've missed the penalty there. Alawi on the break, though. Maybe we can take this all the way up the other end. Diamande involved. Alawi, Diamande, Guio. Oh, I thought that was the moment. Is he going to wake up just before we were about to take him off? He gets the shot on target. He has now gone off the pitch. Solar is on. The last 5 minutes are approaching. Arsenal with a set piece. Find De Silva. Ferreira. I'm worried. It's over. Leave rubbish. Leave rubbish, Keedle. Right. Is there... Oh, there's a highlight. I was going to do it if... Let's watch this highlight and then make a decision. Corner. Pen? There was a foul there, wasn't there? They're going to check if this is in the box or outside. I thought he might... It looked like he was in, but usually this means they're outside. It is outside. We're going to get a free kick instead. I reckon that was quite close. Can I see that again? I saw the foul when it happened, but... Was he really outside? Look, this is where it comes in. Is he fouled there? There. To go full Carragher, he is just outside, isn't he? That was an interesting one. We're gonna get a free kick though, in a good position with 5 to play. Head that ball in. you know, Kanga. We signed him to be good in the air, didn't we? The centre-back. Diamande crosses. There is Kanga. That was the plan. He's headed it over. Okay, 5 to play. Let's do that change that I was thinking about. Let's go for, if we bring, we've got some tired men in this midfield. Let's bring Johnny or now off now. Let's bring on Lee Ford to come and lead our line. Let's also do, do I want to do more here? Campoire. Let's do Doyle Hayes. He's scored goals this year and done, has been important at times. So let's bring him on for what might be extra time here as we head towards the final minutes. Added time, 6 minutes added. One more highlight to win it. Doesn't look like we're going to go to extra time. They've actually played 7 minutes there. Okay, we're heading into extra time, which means we do get another sub here if we want to use it. I'm going to say I'm not happy. Try and raise the levels a little bit. In the end, look, we've had more shots, more XG. Obviously, a lot of that XG does come from the penalty, but we look like the more likely to score the goal. Just hasn't happened for us, has it? Here we go. Highlight. Starts at the back with Kanga. Takamura, captain. Into Alawi. That's a red card. They're going to go down to 10 here. Alawi's drawn the foul, and Lopez is sent off for Arsenal. Can we take advantage of this? Let's get them in at half time, or maybe even score before that. Ford off the bench, over. A decent effort that, wasn't it? From the substitute Ford. In at half time. I know you don't get a proper half time break, do you? But do I need to tell them to go for this a little bit more, perhaps? I know we're just about to kick off. Let's do the... Do we have one sub or two? We've got 2 subs left here. How do I get this team... I mean, these guys are really tight. So maybe Diamande for Bogovic. Alawi? Is there anyone who can even play there? There's not really, is there? Alawi's going to have to continue, I think, just because we don't have players other than centre-backs. Can either of our centre-backs play in midfield? No. Espinosa for Caicedo makes sense. Do you know what? That does make sense because Caicedo is 6'6". Maybe he gets on the end of a set piece. I think that's all the subs I can make. We're going to go with that. 2 subs to try and maybe see if we can make something happen in this last 15 minutes. We've pushed Arsenal all the way to the end. Here's Alawi into Nakayama. That's a good effort. On target, tipped over, corner. Now, will that sub be made? It has been. It's a free kick. He's hit the bar. I don't know where that came from. We had a corner and all of a sudden we had a free kick and we've gone close. It was Faris Sarr. 10 to play. 8 to play. Oh, they've got a free kick now. I was debating whether we go attacking. I think I might. If this doesn't go in, I mean, if this does go in, we will go attacking. Jan with a free kick for Arsenal. That looks like a decent opportunity. He's put it over. I mean, we're already on attacking. Do we push this up even more? Do we push this up to attacking here? I think we do. We're going to go and try and see if we can make something happen in this last few minutes of the game. I'm going to encourage them again. We are in added time at the end of extra time, and we've just missed the ball. I thought we were going to get it back. Arsenal have it. They could break our hearts here. It's Kimmich. Crosses. It's away. We've got the ball away. It's back in. We keep really conspiring to give the ball back to them. I think Nakayama's going to be sent off. It is. We're down to 10 men each. Heading into penalties here. Nakayama, is he a good penalty taker? I have no idea. I can't see their attributes. But we've just lost one of them. Let's just put Bogovic in at right back for now. He can't really play there, but you know what? I feel like we might need to. Solar's going to play defensive midfield just for the end of this game. As we head now into penalties. Oh, I can actually see their penalties. I can actually see their attributes here, which is a bit of a surprise. I've not been able to see this before. So I can, I suppose, pick takers based on that. But you know what? To keep the sentiment of this save, I'm going to hand it over to our goalkeeping coach and then just swap our best taker, Solar, our first taker, and swap them with our final taker on there, rather than really look into how good they actually are. I'm going to say, we've practiced penalties in training. You've got this. Ford takes the first one for us. We go first, which is statistically a good thing, right? No, it's not. It's a bad thing. The keeper's caught it. We've missed 2 penalties in this game. One in the shootout, one during the game. Now, Arsenal score theirs. Of course they did. This might be really heartbreaking. We had the better of the game. Sometimes in Football Manager, the team that misses first ends up winning the shootouts. That happens a lot, I feel like. It's not going to happen to us, though, because Bogovic has also missed now. We've missed 3 penalties in a row in this game. Good stuff, lads. Penalty practice in the morning. Keedle saved that one. Is there hope still alive? Farisar to technically level things up here. He does score. Now, if we save this, it's actually all level. Maybe I'm hoping for a bit much here because we've scored 1 from 3. But Jan for Arsenal does score. It's 2-1 Arsenal after 3. We need to be perfect from here, don't we? Takamura is going to take it left-footed. He does score. It's 2-2. We need a save from you, Keedle. I didn't sell you. The comments wanted me to sell you. And I've held on to you. Can you save? No, come on, lad. Go the right way. That's a good tip, isn't it? We have to score here and Arsenal have to miss then. It is going to be for us, Solar. I put him on the 5th penalty deliberately, didn't I? Solar has to put this ball in the back of the net. He does. But Arsenal can win it now. We need a hero. That hero might have to be Keedle. What can you do for me, my friend? Who's taking this for Arsenal then? It's going to be Para for Arsenal. I hope you can parry it out. He can't. Okay, Arsenal win the cup. Fair enough. They've scored 4 of their 5. Arsenal are FA Cup champions. And we, I suppose, are going to have to try and take the consolation prize of the Europa Conference League. That's a shame. I felt like we might have deserved a bit more there. But in the end of the day, it went to penalties. We should have won that match. That's a shame. Let's get ourselves off to France for the Europa Conference League final. That's sad. Okay then, it is European final day. We are playing Gil Vicente tonight at 8 p.m. It is now 8 p.m. And this is going to be our 11. The good news is that Santiago Rivas is recovered. He's literally recovered today from those blisters and is able to play. So he comes in and I'm going to make one other change. I'm going to go with Farisar just because things didn't really work and we weren't able to score a goal in that game against Arsenal. So Farisar to start with Alawi on the bench. We also get all of these subs this time. So he's a really good option to bring off the bench then, isn't he? Other thing that before we go into this game, by the way, just something I noticed. I talked about wanting to sign a new striker this year. We went for Guillo. I've just noticed that Jesse Van Dijk, one of our alternatives, has actually got the Championship Top Goalscorer Award with 23. So it shows that our profiling is working, even though that is in the Championship. So maybe he wouldn't have scored as many as Guillo has done. But it's good to see that players that I'm identifying are actually being picked up by other teams. He's on loan from Ajax, look, for Brighton, and he's got top goal scorer, so that kind of works. As well as, I just noticed too, that Guillo's future is apparently uncertain because of the £56 million release fee that is in his contract. It's something that we keep seeing. The agents are demanding that a release fee is put into the contract. I made Guillo's quite high at 56 mil, but he is wanted in this summer now by Leicester, Manchester United, Bayer Leverkusen and Hamburg. So we may see him go, and that might mean we need to bring in another strike. Maybe we bring in that Van Dijk, actually. That kind of works, doesn't it? Anyway, that's a conversation for the summer. Right now, we need to think about this final. We're going to go with this team. We're going to get ourselves into a Europa Conference League final. Here we go. And here come the 2 teams then. We are ready to get ourselves started. We are now actually underway. First minute of the game, we have a highlight with us on the attack. Down the left-hand side, Diamande. Can we score goals in this game? That's a lovely... that's an outrageous effort from Campoire. Turns away from his man, gets his shot off, hits the target. Actually a good save from the goalkeeper. That's a promising start, isn't it, from us there? There's Rivas back in the team for this one. Diamande, Campoire with our usual defensive midfield partnership there. Look, Diamande into Sarr. No, this is different. Sarr into the box over the top. Good start, lads. 2 minutes. We look threatening. We haven't scored, obviously, but we look pretty threatening there with the first couple of attacks. 5 minutes in now, and again, it's in the Gil Vicente half. We've won the ball back again there. Freeman, Guillo, it's a great goal. I think there might be an offside in here. I think it was Freeman as he receives it might be offside. Guillo finished it beautifully, but we're going to get a VAR check. It is indeed disallowed. I think Harry Freeman was the man offside when the ball was played. Look, let's just check it here. Nakayama in to win it. Are now through. Yeah, he's a good 2 yards offside is Harry Freeman there. Let's get ourselves back into it, but nonetheless, a good start. Here's a free kick. Sarr plays it towards Diamande, comes back to Farisar. Arnau, Rivas back in the team, over. I'm kind of frustrated that we've not scored a goal yet because we have looked really threatening so far, haven't we? 20 minutes on the clock. They've had their first shot now, Gil Vicente. Here comes Rivas coming forward. Diamande wide to Nakayama. Good football. Back to Rivas. His ball playing is going to be useful for us, I think. Guillo is in. He's in here. Can he finish it? He can. This time I think he's onside. And the big money signing from the summer, the game changer as I called him, Danny Guillo, has scored in the Europa Conference League final. And we have made the breakthrough. It's just after the 20-minute mark. It's good football. He evades that tackle there and then smashes through the legs, I think, of the defender, over the leg of the goalkeeper. We lead 1-0 about halfway through the first half. This is much more like it. Almost like Gil Vicente aren't quite as good as Arsenal is probably what we're actually seeing here. Harry Freeman's in for a second. Good save by the goalkeeper there. Another good shot. Oh my word, Rivas, what was that? Did the keeper just save that with his feet? I think he did. That was bizarre. I'm not actually, how are we not more than 1-0 up here? Diamande, Campoire headed for another corner. We've had a few corners as well in this game. We look threatening from them too. Diamande is he going to go short or he's going to cross this one? He crosses this one in. There's Kanga. That's straight at the keeper. We've now had 7 shots, 8 shots, 5 on target. And we're not yet at the half an hour mark. This is incessant from us. Sarr, oh my word, Farisar! What a legend of this save you are, Farisar. Brilliant finish from him, left-footed, top corner, and that's why you start him over Mohamed Alawi, isn't it? This is because he can do this. Picks it up, somehow goes round the ball here, takes it left-footed, finds the top corner. We lead 2-0, and we're looking good for a bit of silverware here, some European silverware, no less. And that means, does this mean we qualify for... Do you qualify for the Europa League by winning this? I don't know what you qualify for if you win this competition. Are you just back in the Conference League again? You must be in... I think you're in the Europa League. I think West Ham went into the Europa League by winning it. If my memory serves me correctly. Which would be a nice little upgrade, actually, for next year, considering we finished 10th in the league. And we didn't win the FA Cup, so we're not going to be in a European trophy unless we win this, I don't think. John Arnau is in behind, straight at the keeper. As we approach half-time, we're in a pretty commanding position, aren't we? Maybe they'll get a goal back and make us a bit nervous here. Or maybe we'll make it 3-0 before half-time. Can we win this ball back? Good pressure. They're passing it around the back. It almost feels like we want to nick this ball from them. And I'd like it if you did, lads. Teixeira into Bella. We do have the ball back. Campoire on a yellow card. We do need to be careful of that a little bit, don't we? Rivas. Hanga. We love that one, by the way. Rivas loves to bring the ball out of defence, then turn around and just pass it back to his partner in defence there. This is good football, though. Freeman. Guillo. He's put it wide. That was a great chance. He was onside as well. That was a great chance for 3-0. Half time, though. I'm going to say, make sure we see things out. And we should be getting ourselves another bit of silverware here. Okay, highlight here. Campoire into Arnau. Ball over up. There's space here for Freeman. He's got Guillo in the middle. Can he find him? He can. That's 3-0. And that is a beautiful goal. 29 goals now for the season from Danny Guillo. Loads of them being in this European competition. But he's here when we need him. Scoring goals in the final here. This is just an easy ball over the top. Harry Freeman in that weird asymmetric right striker position gets down into that channel and then he finds his strike partner Guillo. That's 3-0. And this has been an absolute rout, really, hasn't it? This could end up as 5-6, maybe even 7. But knowing Football Manager, it'll probably finish at 3-0 now, won't it? And yeah, that looks to be the case because as we are now 8 minutes from the end, we do have a chance there. That was a weird bit of goalkeeping. It was Guillo's header. We've gone all the way. Oh my word, that's just very strange football. We've gone all the way till the final 10 minutes here, look. And it is still 3-0. We've got 4 minutes to play, 3 minutes to play. Heading into 3 minutes added on. We do have a highlight, but we've got ourselves a really nice trophy to pick up now. I guess we'll go and continue after this. Find out if that's a penalty. That is going to be a penalty. It's a horrible bit of play from Gil Vicente. They lost the ball. Freeman nicked in, drew the foul. We're going to have the chance to make it 4-0 now. Maybe Diamande has the chance to make up for that FA Cup final miss. Nope. It's because he's gone off. It's actually, nope. It's going to be Harry Freeman to take it instead. Freeman does score 4-0. And that is a European trophy in the bag for Birmingham City. We love to see it. That will be, I'm sure now, the final score. Let's go and see these lads lift this trophy. And here we go then. It's going to be Takamura, our captain, to lift this one. It should be, if things are all correct anyway, as we've got the lovely green Europa Conference League stand has been erected on the pitch there. Let's go on then. Let's see it. Let's see you lift the trophy. That's Takamura. That's the trophy lift. That is a European trophy for Birmingham City. And that where we'll leave it for today. Thank you so much for watching. As I mentioned earlier, please do leave a like on the video. Share it with people as well, because it really does help. Mostly though, have a lovely rest of your day. Subscribe to the channel. I'll catch you next time. See you in a bit. Bye.